Namaskar. Welcome to Ancient Wisdom. Ganapati Bappa Moria. Yesterday we learnt about various forms of Ganapati and the four forms, each form specific to the yuga that he is in. The first one is Kruta Yuga, then the Satya Yuga Ganapati, then Dwapar Yuga Ganapati, and then Kali Yuga Ganapati. The first with 10 hands, then with 6 hands, then with 4 hands, and then with 2 hands. And its vehicle also changes depending on the time. Today we will look at a very different aspect and very interesting one. In general, in scholar circles or even layman circles, the Ved and the Upanishad are considered to be high philosophy. And at the same time, Puranas are considered to be just mythological stories or superstitions or old wives' tales. They are not generally looked at treasure troves of knowledge. Today, we will eradicate this superstition that Puranas are nothing but stories. And why they are told in the way they are told, that is what we will be looking at today. There is a story in the Puranas that Daksha Prajapati had 27 daughters. And in course of time, he was looking for a proper bridegroom for the 27 daughters. And then he found Moon to be the right bridegroom. So all his 27 brides or all his 27 daughters were married off to Moon. And they lived happily ever after. But it was not to be so. 26 of those, after some period of time, became angry with the behavior of the Moon, and they went to Daksha Prajapati and complained to him that Moon was being partial to them, or rather he was being partial to one of them, that is Rohini, and he would spend most of his time and shower most of his affection on Rohini. And then Daksha Prajapati was very angry about it, and he cursed the sun that he cursed the moon that his effulgence will go on reducing for 15 days and then will increase for 15 days. That is how Amavasya Purnima are formed. In this, there is some knowledge about Amavasya Purnima, but that is not all. Who are these 27 wives of Moon? These are the 27 nakshatra in the sky. What is nakshatra? Nakshatra is a imaginary space or imaginary area in the space in which there are certain clusters of various stars. So each nakshatra has many stars in it. For example, Shatabisha has got more than 100 big stars. And the moon goes through one nakshatra roughly in one day. So in 27 days, it completes one circle or one round of all these 27 nakshatra. That means he stays in each of his queen's house. But now they are complaining that Rohini is his favorite and he is showering more attention to Rohini, which is not the case because it is also staying there for one day. So this basic story was discarded by most people as again a superstitious story or an entertainment and so on. But in 1956, astronomical scientists or astronomers basically found out something very interesting. There is something called as occultation. As I told before, that each nakshatra has many stars. And when moon passes through that nakshatra, sometimes he goes very close to or right above those stars. This is also called as Pidhanyuti, being right at on the top. And in English it is called as occultation. So different type of occultation happens in different nakshatras. The scientists found out that moon forms maximum occultation when it is in Rohini. And this is over a period between 4 years to 19-year cycle. That means, in other words, it showers maximum of his attention on Rohini. And this is what the story was telling us all along. What that occultation does, how it affects astronomy, this is too technical for today's lecture. But just imagine a truth which was so simply told and even a common person knew at that time. Today the scientists have found out, and we are saying that this was a hilarious moment, and Moon was witness to it, and Moon laughed. As a result of which, Ganapati got angry and Ganapati cursed Moon to go waxing and waning. One part. Ganapati also said that anybody who would look at Moon on that particular day, that is Ganesh Chaturthi, he would get falsely accused of wrongdoing. And as a result of which, because everybody knows this story, people tell each other on Chaturthi day, Bhadrapad Shukla Chaturthi or Ganesh Chaturthi day, not to go outside. Not only that, if you are going outside, you are warned not to look at the moon, because you may be falsely accused. This is very common knowledge. Is there any scientific fact behind it? Yes, there is a scientific fact behind it. The moon completes one cycle, as we talked earlier on, in 27 days. Roughly taking 1 day to go through each nakshatra. In the same way, it completes 1 year in about 354 days. That is 1 moon year. But all through this year, its speed is not constant. Its speed of movement keeps changing. Sometimes it goes faster, sometimes it goes slower. But guess what? The moon gains its maximum speed on Bhadrapad Shukla Chaturthi or Ganesh Chaturthi. It has some technical repercussions in astronomy, which again we will not go into this. But this is a fact which is being told in this story form, that don't look at the moon on this particular day, because this particular day has got this astronomical significance. If this was told in this plain language, everybody would forget it, because it is none of their business. It doesn't concern them. But when it has been told in a story form, everybody remembers, and that knowledge gets propagated to the next generation, next to next generation, and so on. And the most important point I want to make over here is that as of today, the knowledge is transferred from Guru to Shishya, from the learned to the novice, or from the scholar to the duffer. So the knowledge keeps always going from the top to bottom, like water goes from higher height to lower height. Interestingly, by this story, or with the help of this story, the unidirectional movement of the knowledge is converted to a bidirectional movement. And even without knowing it, how does that happen? Suppose it is Ganesh Chaturthi and a scholar wants to go out in the evening. A lay person is going to warn him, don't go out, don't look at the moon. Today is Bhadrapad Shukla Chaturthi, or today is Ganesh Chaturthi. And as a result of which, even if he has forgotten, even the scholar has forgotten what it was, what day it was, etc., etc., he immediately remembers, or he is immediately reminded of the significance of that day and the moon and the speed attached with it and the astronomical phenomena connected to that. As a result of which, it becomes a bi-directional movement of knowledge, and the knowledge is spread much more, and many people who don't even know what that knowledge is help you to carry that knowledge forward and sideways and next door. As a result of which, the knowledge remains there, knowledge becomes much more, knowledge has much more movement, and also knowledge lasts much longer with the help of common people even with those people who don't know what that knowledge is, they help to carry that knowledge forward. This is the beauty of the Purana. And as we discussed, there are number of scientific facts and scientific phenomena which have been described in beautiful stories to be connected to common people and to scholars and learned people alike. So send us your questions and comments. Do send us your stories. We will cover those in coming episodes of Ancient Wisdom. Today we stop here. Ganapati Bappa Moria.